Hey guys, so we are making lobster mac and cheese today. This is so yummy and cheesy and gooey. Alright, let's get started with our ingredients. You're going to need some lobster tails, some salt, butter, lemon juice or fresh lemon, paprika, black pepper, Parmesan cheese. This is the shredded, but you can also use grated. You'll also need some fresh garlic, or you can use garlic powder. Also some flour, panko breadcrumbs, some noodles. I'm using the corkscrew, but if you have elbow or another type like shells, you can also use that. Also some milk, and then whatever type of cheese you want. I'm using pre-shredded mozzarella and cheddar mix, but feel free to use whatever type you want, that's as long as it's a stringy, melty cheese, okay? Okay guys, so first thing first, you want to split your lobster tails. Probably should have sharpened my knife before I started this. Alright. Alright, so just split them down the middle like that. Oh, here it is. Sorry, I was looking for the digestive tract. So just like with shrimp, making sure you clean it, okay? Discard that. So I'm going to give it a quick rinse, and then we're going to lay this in the pan, okay? Alright guys, so I have in a pan here over a medium heat, and I just added some pan spray and a little bit of olive oil. You can also use butter. I'm just going to dump in a little bit of garlic. You don't need much because you don't want this to overpower your dish, okay? Alright, next we are going to take our split lobster tails that we cleaned and rinsed. We're just going to place these in the pan, okay? So, make sure you do not cook these all the way through, okay? We're only going to cook these about halfway through, because once we put it in the oven, they're going to finish cooking, okay? And nobody likes overcooked lobster. Alright, so you can see that. It's nicely put in there. Alright, so we're just going to let this cook a couple minutes, alright? While this is cooking, you're going to start boiling a pot of water. Alright, so while we are waiting on some other things to cook, we're going to go ahead and make our topping for the lobster mac and cheese. So just take some panko breadcrumbs. You don't want too much, but yeah. So that, you're going to take some paprika. And then a little bit of salt, not much. A little bit of pepper, and then your Parmesan cheese. Again, it can be shredded or it can be grated, okay? So this is going to be the topping, okay? If you want to, you can add butter to this. I'm going to just add a couple pieces of butter right on top, but if you want to mix this in and make it more of a wet topping, you can do that. Alright, so now our lobster looks good on the first side. Remember, we're not cooking it all the way, just about halfway. So we are going to flip it over now, okay? Alright, so let's go ahead and give this a flip and give that all a flip. Alright, at this point you want to turn your heat off, okay? Just let this cook about 1 more minute, and then we're going to remove it from the heat. And then after it cools down a little bit, we're going to take it out of the shell, okay? Alright, so at this point we are just taking the lobster out of the shell. So let it cool down a little bit before you start this, okay? So it should pull right out. And then you're just going to kind of chop it up. You don't want the pieces too small because you want it, you know, to bite into lobster. So don't make the pieces too small. Just make sure you get all the lobster out. And then save the shells, okay? Do not throw these away. Okay, so this is our lobster tails that we had took the meat out. And then I already have some of the pasta boiling. So at this point you want to add the shells, okay? You're going to add them to your water, and this is going to really enhance your flavor, okay? It's like a seafood stock, homemade, okay? So this is going to really give it that extra lobster seafood flavor, alright? So let's cook it until your noodles are almost done, but we're going to finish them in the oven so you don't want them overcooked, okay? Alright, so at this point we have our noodles boiling. We have our oven preheated to about 325 degrees. This is the pan that we cooked our lobster tails in, okay? So this has some of that flavor in it, so we're going to just use this again to give it that extra lobster flavor, okay? Anything you can do to get that extra flavor, do it, alright? So now we're going to be adding our butter in and just get this melted. This is about 2 tablespoons. Alright, just once this gets melted, we're going to add our flour and make a little roux. And then we'll add the milk and get the cheese melted in, and then we're going to mix all this together, okay? Alright, so our butter has melted all the way down. So at this point, we are going to add our flour, and this is about 2 tablespoons as well, okay? Alright, so just cook this down for about 5 minutes, alright? You don't want it to get any color to it, so make sure your heat is on almost the lowest setting. You're not trying to make a dark roux like you would gumbo or anything. You want this to be a light roux for a bechamel sauce, okay? Just kind of cook it until that flour tastes out of there, so it's not like that raw flour, but you don't want to add color to it, if that makes sense, okay? Okay guys, so normally I would let this cook a little bit longer. It's not quite ready yet, but unfortunately I'm in a time crunch because this is my husband's lunch break and I got started kind of late, so I gotta have it ready for when he comes home, okay? So we're gonna just go ahead and add the milk, but usually you would let this cook a little bit longer. I think it cooked about 3-4 minutes, but a little bit longer would be ideal. So I'm just adding a little bit of flour. Oh, not flour. Milk, sorry. Alright. So add this until it's like a smooth texture. You don't want it thick, so just add a little bit more milk. I'm gonna add a little bit more, and make sure your heat is on the lowest setting at this point, okay? Alright, so this looks good. You just want to make sure that it's smooth with no lumps, okay? Alright, so at this point we are going to start adding in our cheeses. So again, use whatever type you want, but make sure it is the stringy, melty kind. So mozzarella is a good one, and regular cheddar or white cheddar, Vermont cheddar is all good. Alright, and we're going to add some seasonings. So we're going to add a little bit of paprika. You don't need much, but this does give it that nice color, and it kind of complements that lobster, okay? And then we're going to do some black pepper, and we're going to do some salt. So if you have nutmeg, this will be a good time to add it. I don't have any, but it's really good in this recipe, okay? So just let this get all melted until it's pretty smooth and not a lot of lumps, okay? I'm gonna add a little bit more cheese. Alright, so we're just gonna let this get all melted down. At this point, our noodles are done and we are going to drain them, okay? Reserve your lobster shells still, do not take them out. So you see the pasta looks good, so turn your heat off and go ahead and drain them and keep your lobster shells. Alright, so we have our noodles drained, we have our cheese sauce melted. We're going to go ahead and pour this in here. Look how creamy that is. Alright, let's get this all mixed together. Ah, I lost one. Alright, so you see how stringy. Oh yes. I swear, mac and cheese is like one of the best foods ever. Oh my god. It's like food porn 101 right here. Yes. Alright, so at this point, you're going to add your lobster, okay? So just drop that in there. Alright. Give it a good stir. Alright, and we are going to transfer this to a baking dish and cook it for about 25 minutes, alright? Okay, so I have my baking dish right here, and I just kind of put a little bit of butter at the bottom and on the sides. So go ahead and transfer your mac and cheese. Oh yes, this is smelling delicious. Alright, so at this point I'm going to add a little bit more cheese on top, a little paprika, alright, a little black pepper, a little salt, and then our breadcrumb mixture that we made earlier. I don't know why, but when I make regular mac and cheese I don't like breadcrumbs on it, but when I make this one I do. So don't ask me why, because I can't tell you why. Alright, so that looks good, and then we are going to add a little bit of butter. So like I said earlier, if you want to go ahead and mix the butter like already into your little breadcrumb mixture, that's totally fine. It turns out the same, so it's whatever your preference is. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and put this in the oven. You can do 325 or 350. I'm doing 350 because I'm kind of in a rush. But 325 would probably be a little bit better, like a lower and slower temp, okay? Alright, so it's nice and fresh, hot out the oven. So you're going to take either your lemon juice, or if you have your fresh lemons, and just give a generous squeeze across the top. Alright, so I told you to save your shells. So these are basically just for presentation. It does give it that nice elegant look. Alright, so just kind of place those there. Alright, and then you're going to take some parsley. I don't want to put my hand in here. And then this is, again, just for presentation, okay? Alright, and that is your lobster mac and cheese. Alright guys, it is time to dig in. Let me show you how cheesy this is, okay? See how stringy? Look at that pool. It smells so good. Yes.